Hi, and welcome to another edition of the South China Morning Post's Racing Podcast. I'm Alan Aitken, and Sha Tin today. We've got a great 10-event card. We've got a Group 3 Sha Tin Sprint Trophy, and yet it's all going to be well and truly overshadowed. Half a world away in Paris, the Prix de Triomphe is to be run, and the Hong Kong-owned champion, See the Stars, the best horse in the world at the moment, and some say the best horse for many years, is out to add the arc to his list of triumphs. 6 Group 1s in a row it will be if he takes the arc, and bookies in Europe have him odds on, and he's certainly the horse everybody is talking about and owned right here in Hong Kong. So that's going to be a great event. Hong Kong punters can bet on See the Stars or something else if they prefer with the Hong Kong Jockey Club today, as we have our first simulcast of the new season, and also the Prix de l'Abbaye, the premier sprint of Europe over 1,000 metres, will be available for betting, and both races will be telecast in Hong Kong tonight. Both going to be great guides to horses coming here for the Cathay Pacific International races, which are not too far away. Also in international racing, this afternoon, the Sprinters Stakes in Japan, a race that was intended to have Hong Kong involvement with Sacred Kingdom and Enthused. Both of those horses missing the race through illness or injury, and it will be up to Australia's Scenic Blast to uphold the outsiders, because he's the only visitor to the Japanese sprint race. He's odds on with bookmakers around the world operating on the race, and of course that is a race that won't be telecast to Hong Kong now, but it will have great relevance for the Hong Kong sprint if Scenic Blast is able to take the race, and then he will be here most likely for the international sprint trial in November before going on to the big event. Well, locally, the news was at Sha Tin on Thursday, the big National Day meeting. Egyptian Ra took the main race in brave fashion, and Young Elite, Casper Found's very exciting young horse, aimed towards the international races, was impressive, winning at his first run back for the season. But we turn our attention to Sha Tin again this afternoon for the sprint, the Sha Tin Sprint Trophy. And this is a race where we've got a number of top-class horses lining up. Inspiration, of course, last year's Hong Kong Sprint winner, Dim Sum, winner of the Chairman's Trophy earlier this year. And they've got some young up-and-comers lined up against them, including the likes of Tuscan Spirit, Happy Zero, and Armand Lee's very exciting young horse, Sun Trooper. And I've gone for Tuscan Spirit, a horse I've got a great deal of time for from the John Size stable. And Tuscan Spirit, I guess to some eyes, might have been a little bit disappointing first up, but there was only an eyelash in it when he was beaten by Nightline, and Tuscan Spirit should come on for that run. Switching back to 1,000 metres has never been a problem for him before. He has great natural speed, and with the benefit of that run under his belt, I expect Tuscan Spirit to come out and win the Sha Tin Sprint Trophy this afternoon and throw himself into the mix for the Cathay Pacific Hong Kong Sprint in December. Jockey challenge time, and Douglas White has been away suspended, but he comes back fresh this afternoon, and I think that he's just going to make a procession of today's Jockey Challenge. Odds makers put him up at a 2.0 favourite last night, ahead of Matthew Chadwick at 3.2. No other jockey considered to have a better than double figures chance of winning today's challenge, and Douglas White might even have this put to bed by the time the first 4 races are over. He's got great rides in each of those events. All of them could conceivably win, and no one would be the least bit surprised. And at that stage, you're not going to be able to get on Douglas White in in-play betting. So I suggest that the Jockey Challenge bet for today is take the $2 Douglas White and cross your fingers. Best bet time, and my best today is not a Douglas White mount, although there were a couple that could have qualified. Instead, I've gone for his main rival on today's Jockey Challenge, Matthew Chadwick, in race 5, number 4, Penglai Xianzi. Now, this horse showed a little bit of ability as a Griffin 2-year-old last season, but his win first up as a 3-year-old showed that he's taken great benefit from his spell, grown a bit, and he is a much improved horse this time around. Doesn't have a great field to line up against today, and I think he'll take the rise in weight in his stride. Race 5, number 4, my best. Well, that's all we have for today's racing podcast from the South China Morning Post. For anything more on the stories that are mentioned here, have a look online at www.racing.scmp.com or pick up your copy of today's Sunday Morning Post. And inside we have a piece on the Hong Kong-owned superstar See the Stars, who will be the odds-on favourite for Europe's greatest race tonight. I'm Alan Aitken. Good punting.